Hey everyone, and welcome to your rapid fire final day review. Today, I'm stepping in as your virtual mentor to walk you through this explainer. We're going to check off literally every critical general knowledge fact you need to absolutely ace your objective exams. Now, I know the pressure is on, right? And the sheer amount of information out there can feel like the Mariana Trench, deep, dark, and endless. But hey, don't worry, I've sifted through all the noise to bring you the exact pearls of knowledge that examiners love to test. We're going to lock this complex geopolitical and historical information directly into your memory, for sure. Time is incredibly short, so let's just quickly scan what we're doing today. We'll hit global geography and borders, master the Seven Sisters, tackle history and political revolutions, sort out leaders and key terms, and then finish up with a rapid-fire practice quiz. Let's dive right in. Section 1. Global Geography and Borders. We're mapping out the world's most critical extremes and those really tricky disputed lines. Okay. I want you to anchor this single, powerful number in your mind right now, 14. Why? Because when you're sitting in that exam hall and a question asks which country has the most international land borders, the answer involves this exact number. Both China and Russia share the global record for having land borders with exactly 14 different countries. But, and this is absolutely crucial, be careful. Examiners love to trick you by throwing in maritime borders to mess up your count. Stick to the land. Visualize this bold number 14, and you've instantly secured a point. Building on that geographic foundation, do not let exam setters trip you up on disputed regions. Think of a simple mental cheat sheet for South Asian border conflicts. When you see names like Kalapani, Lipulekh, or Limpi-Dodara, immediately connect them to India and Nepal. On the flip side, the Siachen Glacier, that freezing, high-altitude region, is heavily contested between India and Pakistan. Visualizing this straightforward breakdown prevents you from second-guessing yourself when you're racing against the clock. Our next major geographic hotspot is the Horn of Africa. If you look at a map, the easternmost projection of the African continent looks literally like a rhino's horn, jutting right out near the strategic Bab el-Mandeb Strait. If you see a multiple-choice question asking which country is not in the Horn of Africa, you need to quickly recall these 4 specific nations: Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti. Lock those 4 in, and you'll spot the imposter in the options in no time. All right, moving on to Section 2, Mastering the Seven Sisters. We're navigating Northeast India's complex geography with a seriously effective memory tool. Burn this phrase into your brain right now. Amatri Omanam. The northeast states of India are completely separated from the main landmass, except for the narrow Siliguri corridor, which you'll often hear called the chicken's neck. Examiners just love testing this area. By using the mnemonic Amatri Omanam, you can effortlessly list the Seven Sisters: Assam, Mizoram, Tripura, Arunachal, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Manipur. When the clock is ticking, you don't have time to mentally draw a map. You just sound out the mnemonic, and boom, the answers reveal themselves. So the real trick here is knowing how these states interact with their neighbors, specifically Bangladesh. To guarantee you nail these regional geopolitics questions, you have to distinguish between the sisters. Out of the 7, exactly 4 share a land border with Bangladesh: Assam, Mizoram, Tripura, and Meghalaya. The other 3, Arunachal, Nagaland, and Manipur, absolutely do not. If you're asked to identify which state lacks a border with Bangladesh, just picture those 3 isolated ones. It's all about efficient elimination. Let's shift gears to Section 3, History and Political Revolutions. We're looking at the key dates and terms that reshaped the globe. Picture this chronological flow of massive power shifts. These aren't just random years. They're the actual anchors of modern history. We start with 1789, the spark of the French Revolution, marked by the fall of the Bastille. Fast forward to 1917, the October Russian Revolution, led by the Bolsheviks, which overthrew Tsar Nicholas II in essentially 10 days that shook the world. Finally, we hit 1991, the monumental dissolution of the Soviet Union, fragmenting the USSR into 15 independent states. Building this exact mental flowchart makes guessing historical dates so much more logical. Now, when analyzing Middle Eastern history, terminology is everything. You must clearly define the term intifada. In the context of geopolitical exams, it translates strictly to a political uprising, a shaking off, or a collective awakening, specifically regarding the Palestinian struggle against Israeli presence. Understanding the literal translation ensures you never confuse it with the names of treaties or random geographical locations. Let's solve a trap almost everyone falls into: confusing Mikhail Gorbachev's final two policies for the Soviet Union. Examiners will constantly swap their definitions to trick you. Think of it like this. Perestroika specifically means restructuring. Think P for putting the economy back together. On the other hand, glasnost means political openness and free discussion. Think G for giving people a voice. Keep them totally separate in your mind, and you will never lose points on Cold War trivia again. Here's a brilliant trick for tracking the lineage of ancient Greek thought. Examiners love asking, who was the teacher of who? Just remember the simple acronym SPA. Like a relaxing health spa. It maps out the steps showing how Socrates mentored Plato, who in turn taught Aristotle, and if you want to take it one step further, who did Aristotle instruct? The great conqueror himself, Alexander the Great. SPAA. It's that simple, that structured, and completely foolproof. Welcome to Section 4, Leaders and Key Terms. Let's look at how avoiding traps in identical-sounding trivia can totally save your score. To manage your time effectively under pressure, you've got to scan your options quickly, but read the actual questions incredibly carefully. This is exactly where top students make silly mistakes. For example, Sirimava Bandaranaike of Sri Lanka was the world's very first female prime minister, taking office in 1960. But if the exam adds just one single word and specifies the Muslim world, the answer shifts entirely to Pakistan's Benazir Bhutto. One word changes the whole shebang. Always read the full prompt. Okay, here's how to decouple the black groups. When multiple organizations share the same prefix, panic sets in, right? So let's categorize them logically. Black September belongs to Palestine. Black December is an organization originating from Pakistan. Meanwhile, Black Cat isn't a political group at all. It refers to the elite Indian National Security Guard Commando Unit. Grouping them like this trains your brain to sort the data instantly rather than just rummaging around for random memories. Quotes frequently pop up in general knowledge sections. To keep your motivation high, channel the energy of the child of the French Revolution, Napoleon Bonaparte. He famously declared that the word impossible is strictly reserved for fools. As you face down a really intimidating exam paper, remember this mindset. It's not impossible, it just requires structured, focused review, which is exactly what we're doing right now. And we are in the final stretch. Section 5, the Rapid Fire Practice Quiz. Let's lock in everything we've covered and test that final day retention under a little bit of pressure. Question 1. Let's see how fast you can recall this incredibly dramatic visual metaphor for rising sea levels. Which specific country took their entire parliament underwater, holding a cabinet meeting in full scuba gear to send a message to the world? Have your answer ready. It's the Maldives. They made a vital, totally unforgettable global statement that their entire island nation, with its incredibly low elevation, was at critical risk of disappearing beneath the waves due to melting polar ice caps. Next question. This tests your knowledge of international UN relationships and soft power diplomacy. Where exactly on the African continent is a physical location named Bangladesh Square located? Lock your guess in. The answer is Liberia. This square serves as a permanent geographical tribute to the extensive and really brave help provided by Bangladeshi peacekeeping forces during times of severe conflict in that region. It's just a beautiful intersection of geography and modern history. Okay, final question for your checklist. Bhutan is famous globally for its unique policies, like being entirely carbon negative and strictly banning public smoking. But what is the official, traditional name of their parliament? It is the Shogdu, and you can recall it effortlessly with the mnemonic "so good," because banning smoking and protecting the environment is a so good policy. Well-focused learners, you now have a real visual arsenal to go and conquer this exam. But as you put down your pencils tomorrow, I want you to ask yourself this. With borders constantly disputed and our global climates rapidly shifting, which of these established geographical facts will be the next to